Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. My name is Stephen Westner. I'm CEO of Predictive ROI and founder of our signature event, Predictive ROI Live, where over 2.5 days, we bring together the world's leading experts in digital marketing and business leadership and share those insights with business owners so they can achieve phenomenal growth guaranteed. And I have the honor and privilege to be with one of our experts today. His name is Avinash Kaushik, and he is the digital marketing evangelist for Google and co-founder of Market Motive. He's been a wonderful mentor to me. I've learned so much from him, and he's a great friend. So thank you, Avinash, for joining us today, very much.
Thank you, Stephen. Great to be here.
Thank you. So let's start with some of the questions that I've prepared for the interview. So if you could give us just an overview of the definition, your definition of analytics, that would be a great place to start.
There are hundreds of them, right? My favorite definition is data that you use to make smarter decisions about your business. That's as simple as that. Okay. I think I quickly sort of break it into two components, the practice of analytics. One is the boring part and one is the interesting part. And the interesting part I define as the business of data analysis. And that's when you actually get into the data and make love to it and try and figure out if you can tease out something really interesting that adds value to your business. And the boring part is the data reporting part, where we sometimes falsely believe as businesses that the sheer act of collecting data and puking it out on people somehow makes our businesses smart. So when you think about analytics, think of those two things, right? Data reporting and data analysis. And data reporting is one of those painful things in life you have to do, spend 20% of your time on it. But data analysis is where the world of analytics comes alive and adds value to any business on the planet.
Okay, so let's put it into the construct of me as a business owner or those business owners who are watching this video. So what are the key insights or data points or the metrics that I should be looking at? What should I really care about pulling out of my analytics?
Absolutely. Now let's look at three quick different examples. So a lot of companies have no idea if their marketing is bringing them the best possible people to their digital existence, or when a person arrives at their door, in this case, let's say their website or mobile site or desktop, doesn't matter, is the greeting really great? Do you say hello very nicely? And so I tell people that if you're starting the business of analytics, one of the first metrics you should look at is one of my favorite metrics. It's called bounce rates. And the way that I define bounce rate is from a customer perspective, it measures the following phenomenon. I came, I puked, I left, right? So it's this really interesting metric that's available in Adobe's Site Catalyst, in Google Analytics, Web Trends, any tool you have access to. And it actually immediately shows you, are you bringing the right people to your website? And how many of those puke and leave right away? Because it turns out they're not the right people. You're selling underwear and your site is, and your ads were targeting people who want tires. Stupid. Or on the other side, you are selling underwear, I do want underwear, and I came, and you have the world's most hideous, unsexy page. Like, I'm out, right? Yeah. And so it's such a small, tiny little thing that very quickly helps you diagnose that something is wrong. That is what I mean by very quick, actionable analytics. Here's another example. Yesterday, I was really worried about how to go and find the weakness of my competitors so I could destroy them, right? Just crush them to death. And in the real world, it's really hard to do, right? But what I ended up doing is I just typed in www.compete.com. Compete offers some free analytics reports, and a lot of them for the paid people who pay for it. And you type in the name of your company and type in the name of your competitor, and in like a few seconds, it helps you understand what is the traffic patterns on both these websites, yours and your direct competitor. It tells you what keywords drive traffic to them. It tells you what display campaigns they're running that drives traffic to them. It helps you understand what the age, education levels are people who go to your competitor versus you. It actually even tells you on this one keyword that you're fighting head to head, how much are they more effective than you? Oh, what are the affiliates that are really working great for you? And think about it, like at the end of like 20 minutes, I have understood what my competitor is doing that is working really well for them and what I am doing that is not working well or working well. Now this context is really hard to find in the real world. And yet, when it comes to digital, we have access to our competitors' data on our fingertips. And we can use that to be much smarter. Or my last favorite example is possibly my favorite metric on the whole wide world. I think in my first book I said, if I had to go to a deserted island, I would not take Angelina Jolie, right? I would take this metric. And the metric is a task completion rate. And what happens is, after people visit your website and when they leave, you ask them 3 simple questions. And you say, why were you here? Doesn't matter what we are selling, but why did you come here? The second question is, whatever you were here for, did you complete your task? And if you did not, why not? And think of the amazing things that you get out of it. First thing is, you understand the difference between why you created the website and why people actually came. And that there's a dissonance there. And there always is, no matter how smart you think you are. There always is. Then the customers tell you how much you suck. I love it, right? Because they'll say, oh no, I came here to buy, my task completion is 20%. So 80% of the people who came to buy could not complete their task. Like you want to kill yourself at that point.
That's good information.
And then in the customer's own voice, they tell you what to fix. Oftentimes, when it comes to the context of predictive, when it comes to all this data, we tend to think of it in terms of quantitative analysis. I am a huge fan of qualitative analysis. And so my third example is not trying to get at what is happening, but why it is happening. And usually we have such amazing confidence in Google Analytics. We have such amazing confidence inside Catalyst that we think we have everything. But all of that gives us the what. It doesn't give us the why. And so my third example is all about the why. What can we understand from our customer in their own voice and words and qualitatively that we can then use to go improve our business? So these are like 3 different examples that really show you the depth and breadth of data you have access to. And the kinds of super smart business decisions you can make, at least when it comes to digital. It's just mind-blowing.
So that's really, really good stuff. So let's go back to bounce rate a little bit, and because you know that's one of my favorites too. So I've taken from your lessons before, 30% baseline is a great place to go, but if we can strive to go deeper, that's great. But why do you think 30% is an intermediate or a goal place where somebody should start? Yeah,
no, the way I tell people is, look, if you're doing anything over 60%, then you really suck, right? I mean, what the hell is happening there, right? Because remember, a lot of people say, no, people came to my site, they see one page, and they find all the information, and if they leave, that's fine. Well, my question to them is, how did you make money? Like, unless you're running a non-profit entity, which I adore, thank you for running non-profit, but as long as you're not running a non-profit entity, how did you make money? The person has to do something, right, so that you make money. So I tell people, if it's over 60%, like there's something majorly wrong, you should think about it. Anything over 40%, like starts to worry me, especially if I'm spending money on campaigns. If I'm spending money, I don't want 4 out of 10 people to leave without doing anything. That seems criminal. But you can't get a bounce rate to 0%. I've had the privilege of analyzing many kinds of websites. And some of the websites I've analyzed have very attractive content that is only targeted to certain audiences of a certain age. Even with that fantastic content, you can't get it to 0%. Right? And so you will always get a certain number of people who will leave right away. There just isn't a fit, or they just don't like the page, and it's okay. And so I try to come up with some space. So it's like 30%. Like if you get at that, that's good enough. There are bigger problems for us to worry about. And that's how sort of arrived at that number. But for the most part, what you want to look out for are big outliers. Like if you have a really high one, you should look about it, think about it, and focus on that. Or for your campaigns, your affiliate campaigns where you spend money, your paid search campaigns where you spend money, your email marketing campaigns where you're spending money, your display campaigns where you're spending money, the ads that I'm running on social media, on Facebook. All of the places where you pay, you are actually paying money for every single person to come. You don't want 7 out of 10 people to just leave instantly, right? That's insane. So you should go fix that.
Okay, so what would be, if you were to recommend 2 or 3 things that business owners could do to reduce bounce, What might those be?
Yeah. So I have a post, and maybe we can link to it. I have like
Okay.
6 strategies that I recommend people to focus on. And those 6 strategies both work to reduce bounce rate and increase conversion. So they are this really cool strategies you can use to do both of those things. Because you can have a 0% bounce rate and 0% conversion. Actually, it's entirely possible.
And still haven't won anything.
Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly right. So you're not just solving for bounce rates. It's 2 things. You want both. So one of the simplest things to fix is if you're running advertising channels, advertising programs, a great way to reduce bounce rate is to make sure that your targeting is set correctly. So here's a great example.
Okay.
I have a friend in Philadelphia who runs a furniture business, and one of his best-selling businesses is nightstands, a beautiful, gorgeous handcraft, whatnot. And so he started running campaigns on Bing and Google and like nightstands, targeting everything. And he noticed that his bounce rate was running close to 90%. And he's like, no, my stuff is really good. And it is good. And the website is kind of decent too, even though he's a small, medium-sized business, right? And then we noticed that the way that he set up his campaigns was he was doing a broad match on nightstands. And most of the clicks were coming through by matched on the keyword query, one nightstands. As it turns out, a lot of people are looking for one night stands online.
Okay.
They're nothing to do with us, right? Nothing to do with our business of selling actual nightstands. And so, quick way to fix bounce rate, like negative match the word first. No advertising for the word first or one, right? No one night stands. You don't want that. So you can reduce bounce rate by making sure your campaigns are optimized. In your display campaigns, make sure your creative is optimized. And the creative is optimized to be landing on the right page, right? So that's the first tip.
Okay.
Focus on optimizing the targeting options you have. If you're selling Viagra to 60-plus-year-old person, and God bless you, that's totally fine. Don't target websites and things that are for 20-year-old people because they may not have that problem.
Sure.
Same thing in other businesses too. The second way to reduce bounce rate is really spend time optimizing your landing pages. It is criminal how landing pages are so bad. I just was looking on my phone for men's aftershave because I don't like the one I have right now.
Okay.
And so I saw an ad from Gillette. And I said, oh, perfect, Gillette aftershave makes total sense, right? Sorry, Old Spice. Old Spice.
Okay.
And so it makes sense, totally. Old Spice, all the social media campaigns. Oh, how awesome.
Okay.
And so I click on the ad on AdWords on my phone,
Yeah.
and the landing page is about deodorants. I'm like, wait, what the heck was that?
Right.
Like, did I not say what I want? Is that not how your ad showed up? What the hell is that? So fix that, right? Because I bounced instantly,
Right.
And so Old Spice should go fix it,
Right.
right? That's silly. But also the calls to actions that you have, the copy, the image. And so we have a lot of really great A/B testing tools, many free, some paid, that are a really great way to improve landing pages. That's your second strategy.
Okay.
And the third one, I think, is to use your task completion rate, survey-based analysis, to try and really understand why people come to our website. And so oftentimes you can't perfectly guess what I want exactly. It's kind of hard to get for a % of the people. But if we understood really well the top 2-3 reasons people come to our site, on our landing page, our main copy and everything could be about our core thing that we're selling and we are pimping, right? But on the left-hand side or the right-hand side, we could say, we could do some cross-sells and upsells. And so what happens is if we don't match the intent perfectly, we have a couple of small, on the side, gateways that allow people to go deeper and find the thing they actually want versus the thing maybe by mistake they showed up, right? So those are 3 quick strategies to go and reduce your bounce rate. It's not a big deal.
Those are really good. Really good.
Well, thank you.
Oh my gosh. And I remember studying about the task completion rate, and I'm thinking, wow, there are so many opportunities we can put that into action. And I'm thinking, as soon as I'm done with this, I need to go back and listen to it and capture all of these notes and put those things into action too. That's really, really good. Okay, so if you're a business owner and just trying to bring clarity to all of this, I mean, all of these are great recommendations and they might start to get overwhelmed. What are the vital metrics, those 2 or 3 things that they should really, really pay attention to? Bounce rate is probably one of them, but what are those things that if they looked at nothing else and just looked at those, what would they be?
I have to tell you that anybody who answers that question is stupid. If you ask an expert that question and they answer it, then that's, or maybe not stupid, they're an expert. That's astonishingly arrogant, I think.
Okay.
And the reason I say that is because a lot of my belief and practice is that every business is actually unique. And so both you and I, Stephen, could be selling women's underwear. Yeah. And yet our strategy could be dramatically different. Our target audience could be dramatically different. And the way that you and I are running our web business in context of our retail stores, as an example, could be completely different. And so when we ask an expert for the best metrics, tell me the best metrics. I mean, the reason that the answer is not very smart is because they have not bothered to sit down for even like 10 minutes and try to understand, Stephen, what are you really solving for? Or Avinash, what are you really solving for? And then let me recommend the metrics that tie to your strategy. So that's why I think that that's a very dangerous question to answer without understanding what the business owner is solving for, right? So I wanted to give that caveat in general. It's a very important, so don't ask people that, right, as a business owner. The thing that you should strive for is say, can I have like 3 minutes of your time? I'm going to take 2.5 minutes of the 3 minutes with you to tell you what I actually do on the internet, what I actually do in the real world. And in the last 30 seconds, you can tell me what metrics are relevant. And I'm telling you, if the expert is really an expert, all they need is 30 seconds. But you should spend most of your time telling them what do you actually do? What are your advertising strategies? Who are the customers you're targeting? So I can turn that around really quickly. So I wanted that Uber thing. So I don't want to be so arrogant to say, I can tell the entire world these 3 metrics are golden, right? But in general, I say that if you're worried and overwhelmed, you should aim to have metrics, a key performance indicator for your metric in 3 categories. Okay. 3 categories. So I'm going to give you some suggestions for those. Okay. But 3 categories are very important. First, is there one metric I can use to measure the success of my acquisition strategy? Everything I do to attract people to my business, my website, and everything that happens before they show up. So here's a great metric for your acquisition strategy, your cost per acquisition. So you spend a lot of money on advertising. You should look at your CPA. How much does every click or every person cost? It's like a nice metric to use. Or the number of new visitors you're able to attract from one of these sources. Or a whole bunch of them, right? There are a lot of strategies that you could use for acquisition. But you should have one, at least one. The second one is, what is a KPI that can help you understand the behavior of people on my website once they land? What is happening there? Is there a metric that can tell me that? Now, bounce rate kind of begins to start that journey, right? But page depth is a really good one. How deep do people get? The % of people who see videos on your website is a great metric because it's a longer commitment they're making to you. Or the number of people who have visited my website more than 5 times in the last 7 days. Now, that's a really great metric because it's showing you a certain sense of loyalty, right? So the second category is behavior. The first one's acquisition. The third category is outcomes. At least have one metric that measures outcomes. And that is, as a result of this person coming to my site and having a behavior, did we get any win-win outcomes? Did I make any money? And were they satisfied? We want both. We don't want to be selfish lovers, right? So conversion rate is a great outcomes KPI. Customer satisfaction is a great outcomes KPI. NPS, Net Promoter Score, is a great outcomes KPI. The number of micro conversions is a great KPI for outcomes. The average order value is a great KPI. Number of donations to a nonprofit is a great outcomes KPI. So there are KPIs that fall in each of these 3 categories, right? But as a small business owner, as a person who's really busy, you should say, I'm going to go back to my team and say, I want you to recommend, to begin with, just 3 KPIs for me. One that helps me understand the effectiveness of my acquisition strategy. One that helps me understand the effectiveness of my website experience. Okay. Third, that helps me understand if there were good outcomes from our website. And that process can help you distill down to just the critical few very quickly.
That was awesome. Oh my gosh. Okay. I'm still actually thinking a little bit about the funny story that you told me at lunch. So where when the reason why I thought that was so relevant is because, you know, we've got an advertiser who thinks that they're doing really, really well, and they're spending a lot of money to hopefully do really well. And then you talked about YouTube and how important putting the right content and not just putting TV content onto YouTube is. So share that story for what you can here on this interview.
Yeah. So this is a very large, one of the largest companies on the planet, and I don't use that as a metaphor. I mean, it really is very big. And one of the things I find endlessly fascinating. I mean, a lot of my love and focus is in the area of search, social, and mobile. And as a part of social, I spend some time on YouTube in my day-to-day job and otherwise. But not as much as I do, let's say, on Google Plus or Facebook or Twitter, which I'm more fascinated, endlessly fascinated by. And so in this case, one of the data sets I came across is how fascinating it is that if you cluster media consumption by heavy TV viewers and light TV viewers, heavy TV viewers are people who watch more than 90 half hours of TV every week. It seems
insane.
A lot.
45 hours.
Yes.
45 hours.
Every week.
Yeah.
That's heavy TV viewers.
It's insane.
And there are a lot of them.
Yeah.
And the light TV viewers, people who watch less than 19 half hours of TV a week. That's about 8.5 hours. And
but clarify the percentages of U.S. population that were in those categories, because that was staggering.
Yeah, a vast majority of people fall in heavy, which is insane.
Yeah.
And the thing that I found is YouTube and digital video, YouTube specifically actually in this case, way over indexes for light TV viewers. It was 69 for the heavy TV viewers and like 120 or so for light TV viewers. So I thought, oh, this is really cool. So if as a marketer I'm really interested in an audience then that of light TV viewers who I can't hit up on TV, I can find them on YouTube. But what's more fascinating, the thing that blew my mind, is that for the 18 to 24 age group, YouTube over indexes 187 compared to any other age. I was astonished. Basically, the audience in YouTube is 18 to 24, and YouTube has a 79% reach in that audience. TV can only reach 23% of that audience.
Staggering.
18 to 20, staggering. Basically, old people watch TV, a lot of it. Right? Young people don't watch a lot of TV. Now, TV consumption in America is still very important, and we should do a lot of advertising on TV. But what that shows is the audience on YouTube is very unique. And the opportunity on YouTube, in digital video, in Vimeo, and other places that are digital video destinations, is not to copy-paste your 30-second spot and shout at people repeatedly, just like you do on TV, but to do something more unique. And so I'll give you a great example of that. If you go to the Dove United States channel on YouTube, there is a video called Camera Shy. You should watch the video. I mean, I have 2 little children, right? So I particularly was like, oh, I'm crying, this is so good. But it's this sort of 90-second video of how a lot of women of all ages, young, old, they never want their picture taken, right? They're always very shy, and they're just covering the face. It's such a beautiful video, right? And it creates this deep human connection with the length of time and the ability to be creative and in a way that you can't do on TV because of many restrictions. There are lots of creative ads on TV, I'm not saying that. And yet, if you look at Dove's competitors, pick any competitor of Dove, and go to their YouTube channel, it is full of their TV commercials with Hollywood actresses. Here is the astonishing part. That video by Dove, without any advertising support, has 18 million views on YouTube.
Impressive.
Dove's competitors' videos average out at 600 views per video. Because there is nothing human about it. They are doing 1920s TV advertising on YouTube, on a medium where people are engaging in depth, with breadth. And the amount of social sharing on that video is astonishingly huge. And so what this company is doing is on a channel where you can build relationship and have amazing creativity, they just shout. And that doesn't work. And I think that it implies a lot of change to marketing today in most consumer product goods companies. Dove is one of them. A lot of people are employed and employed in their roles to shout at people, right? Because all the mediums that have worked for the last 80 years, all they could allow you to do is shout. Shout on radio, shout on magazine, shout on TV. And by the way, a lot of it still works. But we're living in a world where all this is flipping. And if you want to connect with the most favorable audience you have, the 18 to 24, they're not on TV. They're on YouTube. They're on the internet, right? And when you think of that shift, think about also leaving behind your hang-ups, leaving behind the things that might have made you successful for the last 80 years. But for the next 8 years, in less than 8 years, you're going to die if you don't give up on those hang-ups. It will mean that your company will lose the opportunity to tons of more agile and nimble competitors who don't have an 80-year-old hang-up.
Well, I mean, what I took out of that conversation at lunch too was, you know, if you're going to be on YouTube, produce content for YouTube, and I think that's what you're saying, because the impact could be so much more beneficial, is the Dove example, versus just putting broadcast TV onto that channel.
Or extend your discussions. Method makes soap. Hand washing, I don't know why all my examples are CPG today. We can find other ones too. But Method makes soap. I love the soap. It's very expensive soap for no reason. The bottle is just pretty. I pay more money. It seems idiotic, but I do, right? And so Method runs small TV commercials, right? Some, very small. It's a small company. But what they do is, even if they have a TV commercial, they will have a lot of webisodes that extend the discussion. So you make a connection on TV and you build a relationship in YouTube. It's a very big difference, these two words, connections to relationships. And again, it is, in our discussion today, we're using YouTube as a proxy for how the web requires a fundamental change. And so if you don't like YouTube, you could use Vimeo. Great website, right? Doesn't matter. But it's that this subtle but important difference between connections and relationships applies to the web. It applies to Facebook. It applies to Twitter. And you as a company have to think about what you can do to reimagine the implications between this shift. And if you do, you'll be fine. If not, no amount of data and predictiveness can save you.
Okay, so if you're a business owner and you're watching this and you're getting all this great stuff, you're thinking, I don't have time to do this. I should just give this to my marketing team, or I should give it to somebody in IT. Why should business owners, and maybe it seems like a really obvious answer to me and you, but I would really like to hear your take on this. Because I get the pushback, I'm sure that you do too, when meeting with executives and so forth. Why should I be plugged into this instead of just giving it to somebody on my team?
It's because if you care about it and you understand it, and perhaps by coming to Predictive ROI Live, then you will be rich. If you just dump it on somebody else's lap, you will be poor. And that should be incentive enough, right? And I say this for this reason. The biggest change in behavior, the other day I was at an event and I did a keynote, and this person came up and asked me a very hard question. It was this, oh, this fabulous keynote, I love you, la 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 la. But as the CEO of this multinational corporation, if there is just one thing I could do to drive all this change, what would it be?
It's like the one question that I asked you a few minutes ago.
I had just finished telling him 12 things he has to do. How do I pick one? Like, which one of my children I sacrifice? But thinking on my feet, trying to come up with something smart, because that the audience was really great. I actually said to him that if there is only one thing I would have him change, I would change the incentive structure inside the company. I would change the way people's bonuses are computed. Because in this company, the bonuses haven't been digitized. The bonuses are still running on newspaper, TV, magazine, mental models. And so what happens? Well, they do that. There is no incentive to actually try cool, radical things and behave better. Now, why is it that those incentives are not there? Those incentives are not there because the senior-most leadership in the company cannot imagine the possibilities that exist. And I did this keynote, and Mitchell, one of my really wonderful friends, and perhaps you know him too, is he put it in his book, and there's this whole, my speech about the web should be in your blood, right? And that's the reason that I think senior leaders in companies should understand this at a deep level, because if it's not like inside you, like at a DNA level, you don't understand the incredible number of amazing possibilities If you can't even think about them, nobody else is going to do them. But if you have the capacity to imagine, then you can create the right incentives and then give it to your marketing team. You hire smart people. They can go do everything. But if you can't imagine the possibilities, you have no idea how to think about them. And you will never incentivize them to do those things. And then you will continue to be stupid and get stupider with every passing year. That's why a senior leader should care.
This is amazing. I mean, packed full of really great stuff. I mean, yeah, really, really good.
Thank you, Steve.
Yeah, fantastic. But this is why I'm so excited for you to be at Live, because of these great insights. Really, really good stuff.
No, I'm very excited and honored to be asked to be a part of the event. We have a great lineup. That is fabulous. And my good friend Gary will be there. Mm-hmm. He's always awesome and entertaining, and we've done so many conferences together. And yeah, people are going to be excited with the agenda we have. My goal very much is to bring a mix of sort of the things that we've heard in our discussion. Like, I've written 2 best-selling books on analytics and data, and yet I hope people feel that I'm not obsessed about data. I'm obsessed about creating amazing, incredible consumer experiences and creating businesses that make a lot of money. Making money is good. Somebody said that, right? So it'll be a mix of this. The things that I hope the audience can look forward to is this mix of business strategy and marketing tactics underneath it with this foundation of data. One of the cool things about the web, one of my most favorite retweeted tweets of mine has been, God created the internet so we could fail faster, right? And that's what we're going to do. Like, we're going to give out a whole bunch of ideas that you can fail quickly at, so you can learn what you're really good at. And it's very hard to do in other platforms, but that is what the internet is good at. And hopefully our audience will find that to be a lot of value.
Thanks for your time today. We're going to put some more free resources and tools at Predictive ROI Live /Avinash.
Oh, thank you.
I said that wrong. PredictiveROILive.com/Avinash.
Yes, of course.
So they can get more of this great interview. And thanks very much for your time and your hospitality today. It's
Absolutely.
great.
Thank you.